Yo, what's good with y'all, man? Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm gonna go over how to make dark experimental samples, and also I'm gonna be covering how I record my vocals and how I process them. And before the video starts, just want to thank everybody. That last video I posted did very well, and I got a lot of engagement on it and a lot of good feedback from you guys, so I really do appreciate it. And without further ado, let's jump right into the breakdown. So I made the sample at 107 BPM, and actually the sample got transposed down 4 semitones. So what you guys are going to be hearing is the higher up version of the sample, and then at the end I'm going to be transposing it down 4. And yeah, first I started with this synth one shot, and yeah, this is what the pattern sounds like without the effects. So the chord progression is super simple. It's just an F sharp minor 7th chord. And then I just added this G sharp note to make it a little bit darker. Then I dropped out all the note and just had the bass note play. And then I just copy and pasted it 2 more times just to make it a little bit repetitive. And then to mix up the melody, I just added this other chord here. And all I did for this chord was just take the F sharp minor and then transpose it down 5. And then after I transposed it down 5, I just repitched some of the notes. So I took this C sharp, put it up an octave, and then I added this D note. And then similar to the other chords, I just dropped all the notes and kept the bass note in. Then for the processing, it is some vintage verb on these settings, a Volf compressor. This is one of my favorite plugins. Then I got an EQ cutting out the lows and boosted some of the highs. And then I got the RC20 on the sad piano preset. EQ cutting out some of the highs, some of the lows, a flangus to give it a little bit more warbly feel. Then I added a soothe and I put it maxed up because it introduced a lot of harsh frequencies, all these plugins, and I didn't like that. So I just took them, it kind of took them all out with the soothe. And then I just added this EQ and then this EQ just to cut out some of these mid frequencies I didn't like. And with all the effects on this, what the pattern sounds like. Next thing I added was this bass, just following the bass notes, and this is what it sounds like. And the bass sound itself is just a one shot from this new kit I'm working on, and there is no effects on that. Then that's pretty much all it is for the MIDI. The rest of the melody is just textures and perc loops and vocals. And the first thing I added was this perc loop from, I don't know how to pronounce your name, bro, but your kits are crazy. And that's what it sounds like. So yeah, it just gives it a little bit of movement. And then for the processing on this, it's literally nothing. Next thing I did was record me snapping my fingers. Then I just layered it and I offset it a little bit. And I'm pretty sure I pitched this down by 2. And then I just added some EQ, spring reverb. Here, these are the settings, and another EQ. You can barely hear this at all, but it just adds a little bit more movement, some more rhythm. And this is what it sounds like. And then the next thing I did was add all these textures. This first texture is from a kit that I'm working on. This is what it sounds like. There was no processing on that. Then I added all these textures from that same kit that the perc loop's from. These are what they all sound like together. This has lots of life and movement into the composition, fills out lots of space. And for some of the textures, I just added this accent effect chain that I made. Just EQ, vintage verb, a little bit of delay, and a little bit of panning. And then for this accent, it has some major processing on it. First, there's just a sound shifter pitching it up 12, a shaper box with this thunderstorm preset. Then I added this portal with the jittery tape preset, a basic EQ, a shaper box again, and then that filter M12 with the King Tubby's hi-fi preset. The last thing I added was just all these vocal chops, and I sound absolutely stupid when I turn off all the effects on these, and I will let you guys hear this without the effect. You don't even need to know how to sing or even like put together melodies with your voice. All I did was kind of just say random stuff and sing notes that I thought sounded good. I'm pretty much just gonna play it for you dry, and this is like the worst thing ever. And keep in mind too, a lot of these are sped up, and pretty much my recording process for this is just I'll just highlight the whole melody, like the 8 bars, and then I'll just start recording. And once I go through a whole 8 bars, I'll mute that track and record another set again. As you can see, there's a bunch of recordings right here. And then what I did specifically for a lot of these chops was I chopped it either at 4 bars or 8 bars, and then I stretched it halfway, and basically all it does is speed it up and pitch it up an octave. And like I promised, this is what they sound like without the effects, and they sound absolutely horrible. Yeah, that's absolutely horrible. But we are going to fix this, and you guys can do the same exact things that I'm doing on your own vocals. Like I said, this goes to show that you don't need to know how to sing or need to even know how to say words. And like I said, this is probably like 20 takes, and these are all just chopped together, mingled together to sound good. The first thing I did was just added an auto tune, put it to the right key, set the retune speed to 3, humanize to 62. So all the vocals are going into the 13th mixer track, and then I'm routing all of them to the 14th mixer track, which is where I'm getting all the main effects for. So we're just gonna go one by one here. I really want to explain all this. First, I just added an EQ, cutting out some of the lows and some of the highs. The real sauce is from the Alter Boy. Usually what I do is I'll keep it at -4.6, usually at all times, but then I'll just play with either the pitch or I'll just keep it the same. So if I want it to be a little bit higher, I'm going to pitch it up 12. If I want to make it a little lower, I'm going to just keep it here and change the format to -4.6, if that makes sense. So for this instance, I pitched it up 12 and turned the format down to -4.6. Then I added just this EQ to boost the gain. You can copy all these settings. Then I added a flangus. This adds lots of warble in. Then I added this retro color, which is just on the vinyl 3 preset, and I turned off the noise. Then it's just a stock EQ, copy all these settings. Then it's this other EQ. I'm sure you guys can see a pattern. There's lots of EQs on this. Then I added this chorus. You can copy these settings. I don't know what preset this is. Then to add a lot more movement in, this is absolutely crucial for this particular melody, I just added this shaper box and side chained it, turned the mix all the way up, and then again added another EQ, and these are what the vocals sound like after all the effects. I think we can all agree they came a long way, and they don't even sound like completely amazing, but in context with the melody, it sounds great. And then for the second section of the sample, I just took the synth, rendered it out using Control Alt C, and then I pitched it down 12. And then all I did was I dropped all these textures out. I kept the snaps in, and then I rendered out the vocals. All I did was reverse them, and this is what it sounds like. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the sample. And like I said earlier in the video, I pitched it down by 3 semitones. I added this tape mellowify, just it adds a little bit of saturation tape feel. And yeah, this is what the final sample sounds like. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. I hope you guys took something out of it, especially like the vocal sauce. Like I said earlier, I appreciate all the support on the previous video. That was absolutely insane. And yeah, don't forget to check out my Instagram at prodbyeville. And yeah, in the comments below, you guys can let me know what kind of samples or what kind of videos you guys want me to make. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see y'all in the next one.